Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed that the most powerful people on the planet never say things by accident? Nothing slips out, nothing is casual, nothing is spontaneous. When a man like Elon Musk, a man who controls rockets, satellites, electric cars, energy companies, social networks, AI labs, robotics, underground tunnels, and a global financial influence, decides to talk openly, you pay attention. You stop everything, because these guys don't warn, they hint, they leak. They test the waters, and in his latest interview, Musk didn't just talk. He confirmed something that was supposed to stay hidden. A plan so obvious that it became invisible. A plan that's been prepared for almost a century. And if you think this has anything to do with digital money, CBDCs, or Fedcoin, you're already 100 years late. This is what he actually revealed. So here's the context, because nothing Musk says exists in a vacuum. The interview happened on the People by WTF channel with Nicole Kamath. Harmless setting, calm conversation. But underneath that, a gold mine of signals. They talked about everything: the future of X collective consciousness, the meaning of life, AI robotics, the economy, talent migration, the collapse of traditional work, Starlink, Tesla, education, truth in AI, and even the idea that humanity is living inside a simulation. A normal viewer listens to this and thinks, cool talk, smart guy, visionary stuff. But if you listen the way I listen, watching what he avoids, where he hesitates, and what he repeats, you start to notice something strange. Musk wasn't just describing the future, he was preparing you for it. He wasn't giving advice. He was giving warnings, disguised as optimism. Every powerful man in history communicates like this. They don't announce plans, they normalize them. And the biggest red flag came when Musk reached the topic he almost never expands on publicly. Not AI, not Mars, not X, not Tesla, but something far more fundamental. Something that affects every human being alive: money. Because that's where the conversation starts to break. And that's where the truth begins. This is where Musk drops the first real bomb. Calm tone, straight face. No drama, he says. In the near future, work will be optional. And the average listener smiles. Wow, amazing. No more jobs. Machines will do everything. Paradise. But that's not what he said. And that's definitely not what he meant. When a billionaire tells you that work will be optional, translate it properly. There will be no work, not for you. Not for 90% of the population. Not for anyone outside the elite ecosystem that actually controls the technology. Because when the world becomes fully automated, factories, farms, transport, construction, logistics, design, manufacturing, labor becomes irrelevant. And when labor becomes irrelevant, society breaks into two species: those who control the machines and those who depend on them. Musk frames it as a utopia. People will pursue art, purpose, exploration, personal dreams. But let me ask you something. Who gets to dream when they can't pay the electric bill? Who explores when they don't control the systems that make exploration possible? Who has purpose when everything from food to transport to communication depends on a handful of corporations? Work becoming optional isn't a promise. It's a signal, a preparation. And the moment he said it, he immediately shifted the conversation to the one thing nobody noticed. If work disappears, money disappears with it. And that leads to the next revelation, the one he tried to bury in the middle of the interview. This is the sentence that should have stopped the world. Musk leans back, almost casual, and says, in the long run, money will lose its meaning. At some point, money won't exist anymore. No hesitation, no metaphor, no maybe. A direct statement from the man who is objectively closer to the future than any government. But here's the problem. Most people heard this and didn't even blink. Because they think money ending means digital dollar, Fedcoin, CBDCs, stablecoins, carbon credits, maybe some crypto replacing fiat. But that's not what he's talking about. Not even close. He's not describing a new form of money. He's describing the end of money. And you don't eliminate money unless you already have a replacement. So the real question becomes, if money dies, what replaces it? What becomes the new unit of value? The new way to measure your life, your status, your capacity to survive? And that's when Musk reveals something that sounds innocent, but is actually the key to the entire plan. He says, energy is the real currency. Energy is the true store of value. In the future, everything will run on energy. And if you connect this with the rest of the interview, You start to see a blueprint that has been in the making for almost 100 years. A blueprint so old and yet so futuristic that it sounds like science fiction. Except Musk is confirming it. Publicly. Casually, like it's already decided, because it is. And once you understand what energy as currency really means, you'll understand why the future isn't a utopia. It's a controlled ecosystem. Now pay close attention, because this is the part Musk tried to disguise as a fun fact. But it wasn't a fun fact. It was a warning. He says, that's why Bitcoin is based on energy. Most people heard this and thought, oh, he's talking about mining, electricity. Cool. No. He was revealing the prototype. Bitcoin is the first currency in human history whose value is directly tied to energy expenditure. Not promises from governments, not central banks, not printing machines. To create a Bitcoin, you burn energy. Real, measurable, physical energy. If the energy is cheap, more Bitcoin is mined. If energy is expensive, miners shut down, entire mining farms collapse. And here's the part that matters. Bitcoin proves something the elite needed to confirm, that energy can be a monetary unit. 1 Bitcoin equals a massive, undeniable, traceable energy cost. In other words, each coin carries a built-in receipt of the electricity burned to create it. No government can counterfeit that. No corporation can fake it. No individual can print it. That's why Musk cares. Not because he's a crypto fan, but because Bitcoin is the first real-world demonstration of a currency model fully backed by energy. And that's where the conversation takes a hard turn. Because Musk didn't say, energy will influence money. He said, energy will be money. But here's what he didn't say. And this is the part nobody is prepared for. When energy becomes the currency, you can't allow infinite consumption. Because that would break the system. And that's where the real nightmare begins. Because unlimited production plus unlimited consumption equals collapse. This isn't my theory. This comes straight from the concept Musk's grandfather obsessed over, and the theory the global elite quietly discussed behind closed doors. The Jevons Paradox. And once you understand that, everything Musk said suddenly looks different. It stops sounding visionary and starts sounding like engineering. Engineering of society. Engineering of human behavior. Engineering of limits. Here's where the whole puzzle snaps together. Musk hints at it, but he never says the name. The elite, however, know it by heart. The Jevons Paradox. And if you don't understand this, you can't understand anything Musk said. So let's simplify. The Jevons Paradox states that when something becomes cheaper or more efficient, people don't use less of it. They use more, much more, infinitely more. Let me give you an example so clear you can't forget it. Imagine you walk into a Ferrari dealership, and every Ferrari is free. How many do you take? 1, 2, 10? No, you take all of them. Everyone does. Now imagine. Free food, free phones, free cars, free travel, free manufacturing, free everything, because the robots do all the work and energy is practically unlimited. You know what happens? Consumption explodes. Demand explodes. Waste explodes. The system collapses. Humanity drains resources faster than automation can produce them. This is why the everything for free future Musk describes is not a utopia. It's a controlled simulation. Because if everything is free, the only way to prevent total collapse is to control consumption. And how do you control consumption? By controlling the new currency. And what is the new currency? Energy, not money. Not CBDCs, not carbon credits, energy. Which leads to the inevitable conclusion, the one the elite never say out loud. You won't get unlimited energy. You'll get an allowance. A fixed, personal, non-transferable monthly energy credit. And once that system is in place, something terrifying happens. You cannot save energy credits. You cannot transfer them. You cannot accumulate wealth. You cannot rise socially. You cannot break free. Consumption becomes rationed. Not by price, but by permission. This is the real meaning of a future with no money. A future where every human has a capped digital energy limit. No more buying what you want. No more private decisions. No more scaling your own life. No more becoming wealthy. Everyone at the same level. Perfectly equal. Perfectly limited. Perfectly controlled. And Musk's interview didn't predict this future. It confirmed it. And this is the part nobody wants to talk about. Because every time Musk mentioned this future, every time he hinted at no jobs, no money, energy as the new currency, another group, equally powerful, was saying the exact same thing, almost like a synchronized choir. The World Economic Forum, the IMF, the G20, Goldman Sachs. And yes, the very people who built modern AI. Geoffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, says 2026 is the breaking point. A year millions of jobs vanish, not gradually, not slowly. Suddenly, the IMF publishes a report. 2026 is the disruption year. The G20 releases its warning, 2026, the year the job market fractures. Goldman Sachs predicts 2026 AI replaces entire sectors overnight? And Musk? He doesn't deny it. He doesn't correct it. He doesn't soften it. He reinforces it, repeatedly, like a man who knows the timeline, not guesses it, knows it. And when everything, governments, banks, CEOs, technocrats, economists, converges on the same year, that's not coincidence. That's coordination. Because 2026 isn't just a date, it's a deadline, a pivot point. A transition from the world you know, to a world where work is optional, meaning it no longer exists, money is meaningless, energy defines your survival, and consumption is rationed, not earned. The elite are signaling one thing. We're moving to the energy credit system. And the window to prepare is closing. And Musk didn't warn you. He just assumed you wouldn't understand the implications. Most people won't, but you're not most people. You're listening. You're connecting dots. You're seeing the pattern before the pattern becomes law. And so the only question left, the one Musk never answers because he can't, is this: what happens to the people who don't prepare? Okay, so here's where everything collapses into one uncomfortable truth. If the future belongs to whoever controls energy, and if energy as money becomes the new economic reality, then every person on Earth will fall into one of two categories: those who generate energy and those who receive an allowance. And once that happens, there is no middle class. No building wealth, no saving for the future. No financial independence, because you can't save energy credits. You can't trade energy credits. You can't accumulate energy credits. Your life becomes a monthly ration, a capped existence, a controlled output. And the people who don't take this seriously, the ones who laugh, ignore, mock, deny, will wake up one day trapped inside a system they never saw coming. Meanwhile, the people who understood the signals, the people paying attention now, will be the ones with leverage, strategy, and room to maneuver. Because the truth is simple. Musk didn't warn you. He revealed the plan, and the plan is already in motion. 2026 isn't the beginning of the end. It's the end of the beginning. So the only question left is, what will you do with the time you still have? If you want to keep decoding what the powerful are signaling, if you want to stay ahead instead of being swallowed by the system, then listen closely. This channel exists for one purpose: to give you the information before the consequences arrive. Stay sharp, stay prepared, and stay silent. This is The Silent Analyst, and we're just getting started.